Okay, this is from a book by David Korten called The Great Turning, subtitle From Empire to Earth Community. It's sort of historical, but this beginning part talks about a few different sort of levels of, human evolution or consciousness evolution. So I'm going to read to you the little section on the highest one of those called spiritual consciousness. Imagine that. The spiritual consciousness, the highest expression of what it means to be human, manifests the awakening to creation as a complex, multidimensional, interconnected, continuously unfolding whole. It involves coming full circle back to the original sense of oneness of the womb experience, but with a richly nuanced appreciation for the complexity and grandeur of the whole of creation, as manifest in each person, animal, plant, and rock. The womb experience is wholly passive. Persons who have attained a spiritual consciousness have an evolving integral world view and find meaning in serving as active partners or co-creators in creation's evolutionary quest to actualize its possibilities. Call them spiritual creatives. Spiritual consciousness is the consciousness of the elder statesperson, teacher, tribal leader, or religious sage that supports an examined morality grounded in the universal principles of justice, love, and compassion common to the teachings of the most revered religious prophets. It approaches conflict, contradiction, and paradox not as problems to overcome, but as opportunities for deeper learning. Like each of the previous transitions to a higher order of consciousness, the transition from cultural consciousness to spiritual consciousness is acquired by relating to diverse people and situations in search of an ever deeper understanding of life's possibilities. Each such encounter opens a window to a piece of reality previously hidden from the conscious mind. Eventually, what once appeared to be disconnected fragments of experience linked together to awaken a profound sense of the spiritual unity of creation. Far from marking the end of the developmental process, the step to spiritual consciousness opens the way to new learning opportunities. As observed by psychologists John and Linda Friel, the depth and breadth of an aged person's connectedness with creation is wondrous to behold, and it can only emerge if he or she is gradually willing to let go of his narcissism in stages all the way along life's path. The socialized consciousness is prone to characterize persons who have achieved a spiritual consciousness as lone contemplators disaffiliated from society because they disavow special loyalty to any group or identity. That, however, is a misrepresentation. The spiritual consciousness simply transcends the exclusiveness of conventional group loyalties to embrace an identity that is inclusive of the whole and all its many elements. Thus, it extends outward to encompass a larger whole. The sense of duty and loyalty once reserved for members of one's immediate family, ethnic group, nationality, or religion now extends to the whole. To the spiritual consciousness, the satisfaction of living in creative service to the whole is its own reward. Able to take a holistic view of social relationships, the spiritual consciousness rejects retributive justice as neither just nor pragmatic, because it leads to an endless cycle of revenge that fails to advance the well-being of either the individual or the society. The spiritual consciousness is focused instead on restorative justice that, to the extent possible, makes the victim whole and rehabilitates the wrongdoer while deterring both past and potential future wrongdoers from committing harmful acts. The imperial or socialized consciousness sees this as coddling or even siding with the wrongdoer, as it lacks an inclusive systems perspective that allows it to think and act in terms of a larger concept, the well-being of the whole. The spiritual consciousness joins the cultural consciousness in seeking to change unjust laws. It recognizes, however, that at times it must engage in acts of principled, nonviolent civil disobedience both to avoid being complicit in the injustice and to call the injustice to public attention. It undertakes such acts with awareness of the potential legal consequences. Thank you.